Hello and welcome to another week of NEAFL TV. This is round 14, rounds where we had a couple of very near upsets, a couple of really big wins and a fantastic game down south in Wollongong. Let's get straight into it with the Giants hosting the Brisbane Lions. The Giants fielded arguably one of the strongest NEAFL sides ever assembled, but it was Brisbane through Jordan Lyle who got the opening goal. From there, the Giants got on top though as former Swan Jed Lamb kicked his first before young gun Cam McCarthy and former Western Bulldog Dylan Addison got amongst the goals. Controversially left out of the senior side, former Geelong star Josh Hunt kicked his first, and when James Stewart kicked another one for the Giants, the home side had taken a 4-goal lead. After 2 goals in the first quarter, new recruit Jed Lamb stamped his authority on the contest early in the second term, kicking 2 goals in the opening 8 minutes. After putting up a fight early, the Lions were simply outclassed. They kicked just a single behind in that second term as the Giants piled on 9 6-pointers. It was more of the same to begin the third term. Big man Tom Boyd kicked his first, Matty Bunteen got a rare goal and Cam McCarthy kicked his second. When Jed Lamb kicked his 6th in the shadows of three-quarter time, the Giants had extended their lead to beyond 100. With the match well and truly over as a contest, the last quarter was a mere formality, but it was still the Giants who were by far the better side, GWS waltzing home and eventually running out 162 to 35 winners. Next, it's up to Graham Road in Queensland as Aspley take on the Sydney Hills Eagles. The Hornets have been in fantastic form and they were expected to win this match comfortably at home, but nobody told Sydney Hills Eagles. After losing their first 4 games of the year, Michael Sankey's men have improved considerably since then and they were taking it up to their highly fancied opponents early. An accurate Eagles side kicked 4 goals to 3 in the opening term and took an unlikely 4-point lead into quarter time. The match continued to be a tightly contested affair, but at home, Eddie Sainsbury and the Hornets clicked into gear. Sainsbury has been in brilliant goal-kicking form this year, and he was ably supported up front by youngster James Nellis and Reece Toy. After arresting that quarter-time deficit, the Hornets well and truly put their foot on the gas in the third term. Led by Austin Lucy, Reece Toy and MVP leader Matthew Payne, the Hornets kicked 7 goals in the third term to take a resounding advantage into three-quarter time. Leading by 6 goals at the last change, many would have expected an in-form Aspley to increase that lead, but the visitors showed plenty of fight. Sydney Hills Eagles kicked 7 goals to 3 to finish full of running in the last quarter, and they had 10 individual goal kickers, but despite that, it wasn't quite enough to cause one of the biggest upsets of the year, the Eagles going down 113 to 102. Now to Canberra's Star Track Oval, very chilly here, Eastlake and Sydney University. The Demons entered this match with just 2 wins for the year, and compared to Sydney University's 6 on ladder positions, you would have said the students were favourites, but Eastlake started the game by far the better.
Yes, first points to Ben Cleaver.
On their home deck at Manuka, the Demons had much more run than a Sydney University side coming off the toughest trip in football to the top end.
Easy as you like, Aaron Brucey, sum that up.
After kicking 7 goals to 3 in the opening quarter, Eastlake did not let their foot off the pedal in the second term, kicking another 5 goals. Sydney University have struggled in front of the big sticks in recent weeks, kicking just 1 goal last week against the Thunder, and they had just 4 to half-time, trailing by 8 majors. After a decidedly slow first half, it would have taken something special for the students to pull off an upset here, and they started the third term full of run.
So that's the start they wanted.
This match really evened out as a contest and there was plenty of scoring both ways.
He chucks a balk and a shimmy, a clever little kick, an underground kick. That's goal of the year there to Jacob Derricks.
Former Waffle star Jacob Derricks was outstanding up forward for the students, presenting well all day and kicking 4 goals. He was ably supported up forward by youngster Tim Barrett, who kicked 3, but those 2 were the only players who kicked multiple goals and the students just couldn't get enough points on the board. This was probably Eastlake's best 4-quarter performance of the year. Chad Gibson finished with 4, as did Stephen Smith, and the Demons ran out 123 to 77 victors. Now to Metricon Stadium on the Gold Coast as the Suns take on Southport. There was a record crowd at Metricon Stadium for the game between the Suns and Pies, and any who came early for the curtain raiser were treated to some great highlights. After kicking 2-1 in an evenly contested opening term, the Sharks got on top in the second quarter.
And he makes no mistake, he kicks his second.
Jake Goldsmith continued his irrepressible goal-scoring form with a couple of goals in as many minutes, and Regan Salter got his first on the board to stretch Southport's lead beyond 20. The Suns are without a win in 2014, and one of the reasons is their many defensive lapses. They conceded 4 goals in red time in the second term here.
With the left foot, bang!
While they've struggled in defence, Josh Fraser's men have also been a little lacklustre in front of the big sticks, and in the third term here, they kicked just 3 behinds as Southport piled on the goals. After Henry Shade's goal in the opening minute of the second term, the home side went goalless until the opening minute of the fourth quarter.
Looks pretty good off the boot. That's where it stayed.
But that major was one of the few highlights on a dark day for the Gold Coast. Jake Goldsmith finished with 5 goals, Eddie Mallon kicked 4, and Southport ran out huge, 165-30 winners. Right on up to the top end in Darwin, it is the Thunder taking on Redland. After coming off a huge 10-goal haul last week against Sydney University and vaulting into the lead in the NEAFL's leading goal kicker standings, Darren Ewing is clearly in form.
As Buff Ewing shows all the others who have had a shot at goal how to do it.
While Ewing was on fire in front of the big sticks for the home side, his partner in crime, Chris Dunn, was also getting amongst the goals. With the likes of Alwyn Davey and Shannon Rioli winning a mountain of the ball through the midfield, the Thunder look set to rain on the parade of Redland's 100-gamer Tom Salter. After leading by 5 goals at half-time, the Thunder stretched their lead beyond 50 points at three-quarter time, making this a very tough ask for Redland.
Lovely kicking style, and I think that's gone through. Yes, it has.
Redland is a very strong side, and they look set to finish in the top 6, and they battled hard in this game right till the end. Cleve Hughes finished with 6 goals, but it wasn't enough. Ewing had 9, Dunn kicked 4, and the Thunder had a 22-19, 151-12-6, 78 win. Now down to Wollongong at North Dalton Park, the Sydney Swans travel to take on Ainslie. With a few stars out and 10 top-up players, this was one of the weakest sides the Swans had fielded all year, and Ainslie took advantage. It's always fantastic to see NEAFL games going to regional areas. After a match in Newcastle last year, this game was on Sunday in Wollongong, and the conditions were blustery, but 600 people turned out. There was only 8 points in this at half-time. It was an incredibly tight arm wrestle, and Ainslie were on the cusp of one of the boilovers of the year. Without stars like Sean Ellis and big spearhead Nick Payne, this should have been a bridge too far for the Tricolours, but no one told them. Just 3 points in arrears at three-quarter time, remarkably, Ainslie hit the front midway through the fourth term. But just when an upset looked possible, Shane Biggs, who was brilliant all day for the Swans, stepped up. The match took another twist as Ainslie responded with a 6-pointer of their own, but ultimately it was heartbreak for the Tricolours. Young gun Tim Membry kicked the sealer for the Swans, and they remain right up the top of that ladder, winning by 6 points. Now to finish round 14, a Canberra derby between Belconnen and Queanbeyan. On Sunday afternoon in this Canberra derby, both teams had a rare opportunity for a win. They entered this game with 2 victories apiece in 2014, and it was a very even contest early. After that incredibly close start, where scores were locked at 4-3-27 apiece at quarter time, it was the Tigers who came out the better in the second term. Ruckman Nathan Curlin, who had his best game of the year for the Tigers, was feeding midfielders Cade Klemke and Toby Conroy to perfection, and the Tigers kicked 5 goals to 2 to take a 24-point lead into the main break. After 14 goals were kicked in the entire first half, remarkably 13 majors were kicked in the third quarter alone. Belconnen, behind by that 24 points at half-time, turned that deficit into just 6 points at three-quarter time, and they had all the momentum heading into the last term. But in a seesawing encounter, the game which had opened up so much in the third quarter suddenly tightened considerably. Just 2 goals were kicked in the last term. The difference in this match was those two majors both went the way of the home side. The Tigers kicked 4 frustrating behinds in the final half hour, and it was Belconnen who got its 3rd win of the year, winning 15-11, 101 to 14-12, 96. Now to the ladder, and we have a new leader. It's the Giants out on top over the Swans and Thunder, followed by Aspley, Southport and Redland to round out the top 6. Then it's Ainslie, Sydney University, Sydney Hills Eagles, the Lions, Magpies, Demons, Queanbeyan and the Gold Coast Suns. We're getting to the business end of the year now. It's round 15 this week. Redland and Eastlake clash in Queensland. Then it's Belconnen and the Swans, Ainslie and Queanbeyan, the Lions and Thunder, Giants and Suns. Southport take on Aspley, and the round's finished with a fantastic Sydney derby between the Students and Sydney Hills Eagles. That's all we've got time for, and another great week of NEAFL TV. Don't forget, during the week, check the app, check the website. I'm Sam Canavan. See you next time.